Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to dive into the divine grace that's around us every moment. And we're going to experience that grace like the scent of a flower. A flower and a fragrance that's with us every moment if we would but open up to realize and to sense and then to follow. Ultimately, this lesson today is about following the scent of that grace, allowing it to take hold of us and to guide us to where we've always been, to where we've always been. We'll be talking about grace all week, and I thought this would be a beautiful way for us to begin. So I'm going to share a few words from today's lesson. And I invite you, as you hear these words, just to see if you can sense the approach of this fragrance, and then feel the willingness to follow wherever it may lead. So here we go. The grace I am offering you has no relationship to the world you created, but everything to do with the world created for you by God. The grace I'm offering has no relationship to the world that you created, but everything to do with the world that was created for you by God. A dream flower has no real scent, but the bouquet that I'm offering fills the room with the most beautiful fragrance beyond anything you can imagine. I love this image of a dream flower having no scent. You may be asleep and dreaming and holding a flower in your hand, but there's no real effect. There's no real fragrance. Why? Because it's a dream flower. Dream flowers have no real fragrance, but the bouquet that is being offered to you now, the fragrance that you can sense from that, which is far outside the realm of the dream, far outside the realm of your own imagination, that it transcends it all. This is what we're called to follow. It goes on to say, the world that you created is itself imaginary, but divine grace penetrates the veil and manifests even here, the world of dreams, and it calls you to awaken. It calls you to awaken. It reminds you of the world where you really belong, the world where I am waiting for you. When you catch a whiff of this flower, it draws you away from the dream and welcomes you to your home, the home that you never left except in your imagination. All dreams must end, and this one has at last run its course. Breathe in, and you will sense a change in the air, and you will smell the flower I am holding out to you. Open the gate and enter, beloved one. The fragrance of the flowers of heaven, which penetrate the veil of the world that you created in your imagination, drawing you, calling you, yearning for you, just as you yearn for it. This is the longing that we all feel at the center and the core of our being. The longing and the yearning for the home that we somehow deep down haven't forgotten, that we never left. Somehow we sense ourselves even in that place, that heaven, that state of oneness. We sense that Not only did we never leave, but there was nowhere else to go. And yet in this dream where we dream of flowers that have no fragrance or experiences that have no true effect, we're called even from here back. We're called back to remember, to know, and to experience. So today and all this week, we're going to be seeing if we can sense that divine fragrance, that heavenly scent that calls to us, that yearns even for you. And if we can even sense that and feel that here within the constraints of this dream, and we feel that call to follow, that's what we do. We follow. What else is there to do at this point? So I'm going to reach out to Vicki now and see what she would like to share about this. Vicki, are you there?
I'm right here, Jimmy. Thank you. I want to thank you for bringing everyone directly into the experience of this quiet, of this restfulness that is what grace is, because there's no opposite in it. And it's an invitation that you are offering, and we are all so grateful to flow into this peace, because it is peace. And I do have a practical experience, an example. I don't want to disappoint you. But so you all know, we're selling the house and I'm packing and doing things. So last night I started to do my closet and I got overwhelmed with memories and feelings and all the rest of it. So this morning I got up to finish or continue and I couldn't. I mean, I could, but it would be an effort. And what I've learned from this experience is when there's an effort, there's no grace. When there's effort, it's better to step back and do nothing and let everything just fall apart or do what it is. Because movement without effort only brings more efforting later. It's not what we're called to. We're called to live by grace, by effortless grace that flows through us and we follow it. We don't direct it. We don't tell it, do this, do that. That's not what grace is. And your description of listening, turning within to it, following the scent of it, that is what grace is. And it's so quiet that unless we're attentive to it and listening, we can unconsciously move out on our own and become self-willed, self-directed, even though the direction looks like it might be helpful. Oh, it would be helpful to pack up the mess here. But that's not what real help is. It would be better to leave the mess and wait for grace. So I did that. I know how to join. So I said, I can't move out of not grace. I won't even call it anything, but what's not grace. And a friend came over, Lee, and I just joined with her, sat with her, was with her, attentive to her, not trying to redirect anything or to accomplish anything. And this is the miracle of how grace works. So within an hour or so, I am back in that scent, in that flow, in that warmth. Grace is a warmth. It's an all-encompassing warmth and being taken care of. It's an embrace, I guess. And before I came to do the call here with you, I had that joy bubble up within me. I can't wait to finish what I'm doing, because it's not me doing it anymore out of a need to complete something. It's a given to me, a grace that's given to me to be happy to put things in order and give them away and take care of them, because I have little things to give and I can't wait to give them. And so I was in the pool with her, and I got out of the pool before coming here, and I was restored to that state of grace, not because I tried to be. I can't try to be. I don't think any of us can. This is not our own design. This is waiting for the gift of flowers to be put under our nose so we can smell it. And then, like you said, follow that delicate scent. And when that scent is out of reach again, I'll stop, because I've learned, stop, drop, and pray, take to my bed. Don't be doing anything out of grace, because it's fruitless. Because even if the form gets done in a particular way, the joy of it is lost. And there's no sense of doing anything without the joy of it. And all of those names are another name for how grace comes and swoops us up and takes us and then functions through us. So I'm going to let grace function through me today. But that's an example. So until I'm restored into that easy, effortless flow of grace, because that's the kingdom, there's no opposite in it. It's deep restfulness, even if I appear to be busy. It's deep peacefulness, because there's no conflict, there's no anything to get. There's only a following the flow. So those are my words about grace today. And I thank you, and I love you, and I thank everyone.
So beautiful. Thank you, Vicki.
Thanks.
And you're right, that is so practical.
Practical. It's really practical. Jesus keeps saying.
I think we can all relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is practical.
Yeah.
But it's practical in a way that we're not accustomed to. It's not a normal worldly practicality. It's the practicality of spirit. And yes, they can seem very opposed, and they often are. But the wisdom of God is foolishness to the world, and vice versa. And when we follow the scent, which is what we're describing here, that's foolish. It's like we're following the scent out of the world, and those who are still in the world and locked in place will say, "Where are you going? How could you possibly follow that?" But something in your heart is singing, and something in your heart has awakened, and of course you're going to follow that, no matter what. And it's not about being against anything else. That's certainly not true here. We're not fighting against or resisting anything else. We're just following the scent of grace. And the scent of grace is leading us out of this world of imaginary dreams into the world where we are always at home. The world that we know deep within the core of our being. That's where we're being guided. And that's what I hear from your practical expression. Just wait for that. Don't effort. Don't work for it. You can't make a flower bloom by telling it to.
Right.
Just wait for it. Grace will come. I see Teddy's next to you. Does he want to share anything?
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I was just, I was just thinking about it. It always goes back for me, and was only by the grace of God. I have no idea how else anything could actually happen truly here. It was only by the grace of God that, I was able to see or experience reality that is not of this world, and the recognition that the entirety of this world is nothing but a dream. And we can live in the world by the grace of God, or we can live by the toil of our own sort of attempts to do. But the interesting thing is in knowing that it's all already happened. And so that by the grace of God, we can live in God's timing rather than attempting to make our own time, which is always what pain and suffering is, because there's never enough time. And so the recognition that all things happen in their own time and by the grace of God allows you to sort of be here and live in the world, but not be of the world. And everything that needs to get done gets done.
Right.
It's really unfortunate that we have such an investment in thinking being good is what God wants us to be. Rather than just being ourselves. And when we're ourselves, there's a goodness because there's a grace that which we are. We are the grace of God that's shining in us right now. And the only way we can understand that and experience it is by the desire to within ourselves, and that's a change of mind.
Yes.
It's not about doing something. It's about the recognition that we already are. and the willingness to allow ourselves to be as God created us right here and right now. And in that, we live by grace rather than by the sweat of our own brow. And the same stuff is going to get done one way or the other in the exact same time frame it was meant to get done in anyway. So it's interesting. We can relax our mind and live in the grace of God because we are grace of God living.
We are the living, breathing grace of God, the active and only force in the universe. And when we follow that scent, like you said, everything gets done, but in an effortless way, as Vicky was saying.